Hey everybody, this is Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters. Some of you might have seen the short that I posted maybe about a month ago or so about 1970s dead drums. And I figured I would do a little miking setup to kind of show you guys an easy way to not only do this drum sound, but also just to mic them up using only 3 microphones. So it's actually really easy to do to get the drum sound first off. So let me just walk you through that before I show you the mic setup. Okay, so the drums themselves, I removed the bottom heads on the toms and the kick drum. And these are just really, really cheap Amazon Mendini drums by Cecilio. It's so funny that they do that, like anybody knows who Cecilio is. But anyway, these are just some really cheap drums here. I have it where I teach. And I took off the bottom heads, and the snare drum still has a bottom head, obviously. But the kick drum is filled with foam and pillows. And the toms have bandanas, and the snare, have bandanas underneath the batter heads. And the floor tom, I put 2 bandanas on there because this one's a bit boomier. And the snare and the rack tom just have a single bandana. And I actually think it sounds really cool. And I also put a little tape on here, as you can see. I think it sounds really nice. You know, it's just, a specific sound that some people go for. Not everybody likes it, but I actually really like it. And for the mics, I have a really simple setup here. I'm using these really cheap fake SM57s that I've had for like at least 15 years. And I have one on the snare, and then there's one on the kick, inside of the kick drum, actually on top of the pillow. I just taped it to the top of the pillow. And then on the overhead, just a single overhead, I have this MXL desktop microphone that I've had for a lot of years too. So all of those are just running over into my audio interface here. And that's just going into Reaper, and I'm just going to record to a song that I have, and we'll see how it sounds. And I'll show you what I have on the kick. So I have basically just 2 EQs. This one's more of a vintage style EQ. And then I had the low end cranked up pretty high, but I feel like I can get a more precise low end boost that I liked out of this EQ right here. Snare drum is just an EQ, another EQ. I'm using a SSL G channel emulator. Overhead, I'm doing a bus. I'm sending a bus out from the overhead channel to a compressor here, the CLA76 from Waves. There's no EQ on the overhead at all. On the snare drum, I have that bust out to a room simulator right here. This is the Abbey Road Chambers plugin from Waves too. All right, so now I'll play it back with the backing track. Now, this backing track isn't really like a 70s style backing track. This is much more of a chiptunes track. I use mostly Casio keyboards to make it.